Remember, you have 15 minutes for the discussion. You want to speak loud enough so that we can all hear you. There are no leaders in the circle who are appointed. Everybody is a leader in the circle. Include everyone in your conversation. I'll let you know when there's 2 minutes left. Okay, you may begin.
Okay. So I think you guys need friends. So then, like when you have
Emma, could you first tell us what the topic is?
it's goals and what are important words that you think that should be like that you should have to have a goal. Okay, so I think you need friends because you need them like on those really bad days where you don't have like where you're having like when you fail a quiz or something and then you're like got the tension and you have to go in for lunch because you got a zap or something like that and people are like making fun of you, but you always want a friend who can like help you, like who can support you on like one of those bad days. And I had one of those bad days like on Monday, so because like I failed on my quizzes, but I got to make it up and I had a friend who helped.
I agree with Emma because I think you need friends to support you and help you when you're down and need like help getting better if you like fail a test, like she said, or if you like have like a basketball game or something and your team lost, then you might need a friend to cheer you up.
I agree that you need friends to reach your goal, but I also think that you need passion when reaching your goal because that means that you love like what you're doing, and if you don't love what you're doing when you're trying to reach your goal, then you won't want to continue doing it. You'll just hate what you're doing and you won't finish your goal.
I agree with that, and I have something that's sort of like hard work. If you work hard with your passion, you'll be able to achieve your goal. Like I had a goal that, or I still have a goal that I want to make the JV soccer team, and I actually already started like training, and I'm trying my best and working.
I think you should be brave because brave basically means you're willing to do something no matter how hard or dangerous, even if you're scared. And if you have to like go up on stage and you're already having like butterflies about it, then you should be brave enough to actually go up there. Because if your goal is to go up there and like win like a medal or make a goal or something, you can't be like scared. You have to be brave enough to do it.
You have to be able to succeed in your goals and like have like confidence that you can do it and that you can think you can do it in order to do it, or else you can't really do it.
I agree with Michael, and I think to reach your goal you have to be focused because if you're focused, you're sticking on task. And when you stick on task, you get a lot of good ideas and you don't forget them and you can accomplish it.
I agree with what Andrew said because if you focus, then you can know what you're doing better than if you're like distracted and like you're talking to other people and like so you don't have full focus and you have like a worse chance at doing things because you're not as focused as you could have been.
I agree with you, Andrew, because if you're not focusing on one goal, let's say like you have many goals, you just need to have one to focus on because if you're working on all of them, you might get like confused with them.
I think you have to have grit because if, for example, you want to like run a mile, then you have to keep on running and not stopping for breaks. You have to like if you're almost like at the finish line, then you have to push yourself to finally finish instead of stopping for a break and then going again.
I agree with you, Cole, but I also think that patience is a good characteristic to have when you're trying to set a goal because it means that you're okay that your goal might take a while and it makes you work harder to reach it.
I agree with you, Emerson, because if you're not patient and you think that a goal might come to you very fast, you have to know that it might take a while and that you have to work hard at it, and you have to know that it might be a long while before you achieve your goal.
I agree with both of you, but Natalie, would you like to talk?
I think that you need to have a good attitude when you're reaching your goal, because if you have a good attitude, then if you don't do it right the first time, you won't be like, and you will want to continue doing it.
I think that you should have hope, because you need to hope that you can do your goal and hope that you will get through it. And hope is just like a really good thing to have while you're going through something.
I agree with that, but I also think that a good characteristic is that you should be devoted to your goal. Because if you have like a big test coming up, like the final test of the quarter, you should be devoted to study for it. Because if you're not devoted to something, then how are you supposed to achieve getting to your goal or finishing the test or getting a good grade on it?
I agree with Isabella but I also think that you should be determined when reaching a goal, because if you keep on doing it, even if you get knocked down, then you have a better chance of completing it than not doing it again when you fall down and don't do it the first time.
I think you should be active with your goal, because if you're not active, then you won't have much practice at what you want to achieve, and you won't be as good as you could have been if you did have practice.
I think you need to put some effort into it, because if you have a job and you're just sitting there and you're not doing what you're supposed to do, if you're in an office and you could be doing all this paperwork or something, you can't just sit there and stuff, and then your boss can't just come up to you and just oh, here's money, there you go. But plus it's studying for a test. And the other day I didn't really study for a test, and I didn't really get a good grade, because I couldn't really expect him to give me a good grade. But then I studied for another test, and then I got a good grade because I put more effort into it.
I agree with Emma, because if you're playing a sport and you don't put effort into it, then your team could lose. You're not just letting down yourself, you're also letting down your teammates.
I agree with both of you, because effort means that you have to work hard for your goal, and you can't just sit around all day and do nothing and expect it to work out for you.
If you just do nothing, then and just sit around all day, you can't just get better by doing that if it's a sport that you want to do, unless you're trying to practice sitting down.
I agree with Andrew, and I think that you also have to be confident, because if you have confidence, you can believe in yourself. Whether if you don't have confidence, you don't believe in yourself, and you do worse.
I agree with both of you guys, but I also think you have to be dedicated to it, because if you're doing if you're doing softball and then you want to do basketball, you can't just be standing there going to go hit on the field and stuff, and you're just oh, I don't want to do this anymore, I want to just go play basketball tomorrow and skip practice. You have to really be dedicated to it. So it's you have to follow what you want to do and not what anybody else wants you to do. And I used to do that a lot with softball and field hockey. So
I think you need to be smart, because you need your goals to be reachable and possible. If you say you want to play in the NFL and then you say, oh, I'm never going to throw a pass or anything, you're never going to get there.
Josh, do you want to say anything?
I agree with Michael, because if your goal isn't smart, you're not smart about trying to get your goal, you're never gonna achieve it, and then you're gonna have to work hard at it and make sure that you go towards it and that you do what you have to do to reach that goal.
I agree with Josh and Michael, but I also think you have to be determined. I think if you have like a big test coming up and you have to study for it, I think you should stay on task instead of like going to watch TV or doing something else, and study for your test so you actually get a good grade and succeed in your goal.
I agree with you, Cole, and I also think having a good attitude is good to have because it gets you farther in life and it means that you want to reach your goal and you're positive about your goal.
I agree with both of you, but I was wondering if Katie wanted to talk. I think that you need to have a positive attitude because you can't have the negative side to it. You always have to be positive. Because once I was in gymnastics and then I couldn't do a trick. So then my coach made me all upset and then I couldn't do gymnastics because I was just looking at the downside, not the upside.
I agree with you. So you guys want to say anything?
I think that you should have persistence and like just keep on going with your goal, because if you don't like keep on going with your goal, you could just like give up right away and like just think that you can't do it, and if you keep going with it, then you will achieve it faster.
I agree with you, but I also think, like Emma, that you should be dedicated to reaching your goal. Like, I'm making a dance for Christmas, and I want to stop practicing for it, but I have to keep on doing it, so I have to be dedicated and keep on doing it until Christmas.
I agree with that because if you're not dedicated to something, like if you're not dedicated to practicing, and like Amanda said, then how are you ever going to actually be able to do what you want to do? So if you're trying to do like a certain trick in gymnastics and you're not like determined that you will get it and you're not determined that you will always practice, then how are you ever going to reach that trick or reach your goal?
Do you have anything to add, Savannah?
I think that you should have the right mindset, because if you have the right mindset, then you won't just be like down all the time saying that you can't do it. And if you have the right mindset, then you'll like be more excited about reaching your goal.
2 minutes.
Go ahead.
I agree with Savannah, and I think to reach your goal you have to be relaxed, because if you're relaxed you're not stressed, and when you're stressed you don't do things as well as you usually would.
I think that you have to work hard for your goal, because like if you're going into practice one day and then like you don't stretch or anything, you can just like expect yourself to be like there running to like if you're playing basketball, you can't just like expect yourself to get a goal because you can't, because you weren't working hard enough to be able to stretch and put the time into it. And like I did that in dance and I thought I was gonna do really good, and then since I didn't stretch or like I didn't memorize my dances or practice, I went back after I broke my foot and I didn't know anything, so it didn't really help me.
I agree with Emma, but I think Josh should say something.
I agree with Emma, because if you're not working hard, you're never gonna achieve your goal, and you're never gonna you're never gonna be happy with yourself because you never did your goal. And you have to work hard and practice for what you're trying to do.
I'm going to bring this back to what Andrew Kaniki said. You have to be relaxed, because if you're not relaxed and you're all stressed out, then like you're just going to get mad if you mess up once instead of picking yourself back up and like trying again.
I think you need strength. So if you say like, I'm gonna do something, you need to say, I can do it. Like to pick yourself back up when you say like slide into a base and they call you out maybe. And then next time you can run a little bit faster.
I agree with what he said, and I also think that you should have patience when reaching your goal. Because if you're patient when you're reaching your goal, if it takes a little longer than you thought it would, you don't get mad if it takes longer, and you will still want to reach your goal even if it takes a little longer than you expected.
Okay, we will end on that note. Now, for those of you on the outside who have collected some information, Caleb, tell us what you were looking for and what the results were.
I had did anyone not speak at all and who? Everyone spoke, so I don't have anyone on my list.
Thank you. Ellen?
I have who began the conversation and who ended it, Emma began the conversation, and Natalie ended it.
Aiden.
I had, did anyone interrupt another student who? And I don't think anybody did.
Is that a good thing? Leah.
I had who appears to be a leader in the inner circle, and I said Emma and Andrew Swenson.
And why did you cite them as being leaders?
Because they did talk a lot, but they did help the discussion along and gave like personal experiences.
Yeah.
I had who spoke the longest period of time, and Emma spoke the longest time.
Mine was who made eye
Hold on a
contact.
minute, Ian, do you think that's a good trait to have, to explain and
Yes.
expound on what you think and giving an example so that people clearly understand?
Yes, because I'm usually one of those presenters.
Mine was who made eye contact when speaking, and they all did.
Dominic?
Mine was, did anybody help the discussion along? I put that everybody did because people were agreeing and they were asking other people to talk, and that moved the conversation along.
Thank you. Christina?
I had who spoke the most often, and I was supposed to tally the number of times each person spoke. And Andrew spoke the most, and then Natalie with 4. Andrew had 6, Natalie had 5. Then for third place, it was Emma, Cole, and that's it, with 4.
Thank you. Maddox?
I had who asked a student for his or her opinion. It was Andrew Swenson, Emma, Katie, Cole, and Isabella.
Thank you. Devin, what were you looking for?
The key point in the conversation, and I heard effort and friends the most, so I thought that those were the most.
Do you think those are most important characteristics?
Besides determined, but.
Thank you.
Mine was who asked another student to explain / clarify his or her point, and that was Isabella, Cole, Catherine, Emma, and Andrew Swenson.
Mine was who made eye contact when listening, and everybody in the group did.
I had who heard the conversation at all, and I saw nobody.
Okay. Nobody heard it. As a matter of fact, I cited people who helped it by giving good life examples, whether it was Andrew talking about trying to make next year's JV soccer team, field hockey with Emma, test with Cole and Bella, Emma telling how important it is to study for a test. It's always good in giving real life examples to support your opinion. Now we'll flip the roles, go sit at one of those chairs there. Take, those of you entering the circle, take your $3 out of the circle, out of the box.
Here's another.
Caleb, what is our topic?
3 characteristics that you think are the most important for goal setting. And one of mine is focus, and I think that it means to pay attention and to keep your eyes on the speaker and listener. And I see that most of my classmates do it a lot. So
I agree, because with focus, you can understand what you're doing and what it is at all. So if you're like trying to hit a ball in baseball, then you want to focus, keep your eye on the ball, and hit the ball, and yeah.
I agree with Raymond and Caleb because you really have to focus and get to what you want to be. Another one I think that a good one that I think it'd be is determined, because you have to have the right focus skill to get to what you want instead of giving up. So you have to keep pushing. Like when I was in football, I couldn't get a certain play down,
And I kept trying and trying because I couldn't get it, even though how frustrated I was.
I agree with you. Devin, because determination, what your life experience was kind of like working hard. I think working hard is one of the most important reasons because you need to work hard to reach your goal. You can't just wait around and think it's gonna come to you automatically. Like, if you think you're already good and you don't work hard to it, somebody that might be not as good can beat you in your goal or reach it, and you'll be not very happy. But that's because you're not working hard enough, or you haven't worked hard.
I agree with your point, Ian, but I also think it links in with practicing, because when you practice, you progressively get better at what you're doing. So I try to go to about 90% of my swim practices because I can't go like every single one of them. And when I do, I see that I'm getting better with my flip turns and everything. So sometimes I stay after practice for like 5 or 10 minutes or something, and I practice my flip turn, and I take them in lane lines. If there's like water aerobics after, and like flip turns get smoother, and then like it shaves off some time. So at the swim meet, Friday I'm gonna go to practice, and I'm gonna practice my flip turns, and hopefully that helps me my swim meet on Sunday, and I can shave 0.3 of a second off for the 8 time.
I agree with you, Christina and Ian, that working hard is like a good quality to have for reaching your goal, because yesterday I had my first Taekwondo class since I broke my toe. I didn't even want to go, and my mom was like, you need to go, like, does it hurt? And I was like, no. She's like, well, then you should go. So I went, and like I didn't really want to, but it still kind of hurt when I kicked bags and stuff, but it didn't hurt that much where I couldn't kick the bags. So I just kept working to it so then I could be a black belt in Taekwondo.
I agree with you, Evelyn, because you have to put like effort into what you do. Like on tests, you want to put a lot of effort into what you do. When I'm on a test, I always put a lot of effort into my work. So
I agree with you. And I have another one for characteristics, and I have self-control, because if you don't have self-control, you can't stay calm about things, and you can't keep your body under control, so you be distracted with things around you. And I agree with you, Emily, and I was wondering if Dominic would like to share.
Thank you. One of my characteristics is almost like Devin's. It's willing, and I basically chose this because I have a life experience like Christina. A little while ago, I was in a talent show, and I was practicing, and we did this thing in front of the school, and mine didn't go so well. I kept falling, and I got back up and finished. And then I'm like, I don't really want to do this anymore. But then eventually when it came around, I told myself I have to do this, I have to get this done. And I went on the stage, and there was a lot of people, but I did it anyways because I was willing to get it done.
I agree with you, Dominic, because you do need willing to reach your goals, because if you're not willing, then you're not doing the things it takes to reach your goal in the first place.
I agree with you, Dominic, because you're willing, if you're playing football, you are willing to be tackled, and you're willing to take that chance, and you are sometimes willing to deal with the challenges that's coming towards you.
I agree with both stuff with Dominic, Aiden, and Maddox. I think you need to be willing, but I also think you need to be committed, because I think that goes along with it. Because that means that you can't quit even though you really want to. I'm really committed to improving on my turns, because that's probably the difference between me and the A time. Which, for just clarification, the A time is just the higher level of the championship, so it's a one division up. So I use like the tips my coaches give me sometimes when I remember, like to count my strokes going into the flags, and then like sometimes I get disqualified if I pull more than once or more than twice. So I try to use those tips.
What's the flags?
The flags? Oh, it's just like part of the swimming, like the pool where there's like 5 yards away from that.
I'll agree with you, Christina, and I was wondering if you would like to talk.
I think you also need a good attitude, because if you have like a bad attitude and think that you're never going to accomplish it, you probably will. But if you think that you can do it and you keep trying, eventually you'll end up getting your goal.
I agree with Leah, and I was wondering if Lauren would like to speak.
Thank you. I think you should have patience, because if you don't have patience and the goal may take a long time to achieve, you would get inconsistent and stop believing that you can get the goal.
I agree with Lauren and Leah, because I think that you should have a good attitude, because if you don't, well, you're just going to whine and sob about it that you can't do it. But if you have a good attitude, you have to keep trying and keep working on your goal.
I agree. You keep it up. You can talk.
Thank you. I agree with Caleb, because having a good attitude will get you through many places, and having good manners. Like, if you get frustrated with like a ref and like basketball, if they call like a foul on you, then it's good to like not get angry about it or anything, or not just throw the ball at them and get mad at them. You should have a positive attitude, and yeah. Also, I was wondering if Sean wanted to talk.
Thank you. I agree with you, RJ, and I also think that a good quality you need to have is passion, because if you don't have passion for what you're doing, you're never going to want to push and practice to reach your goal.
I agree with passion. You were saying I have passion on my paper also. So you need a passion, because if you don't have a passion for what you're doing, there's no why you're doing it. If you don't have a passion for it, then there's no use of really working hard at it. Somebody's making you do it. You need to have a passion to push yourself and to make you want to get better, and it'll be like your drive. So passion, I think, is one of the main qualities, because it helps you move on. Like, for me, my passion is basketball and soccer, my two passions. And so far, I've done pretty good with both of them.
I agree with Ian, but I also think friends is a good one, because you need support throughout your goal, so you'll keep trying, and you'll have support for that goal, even if times get hard when you're trying to accomplish your goal. There's support to have with that.
I agree with that, because like if you have a good friend, like, or friends, they're the ones who are going to support you. Like, you can't have support without friends. Well, your family of course is going to support you, but it's really good to have good friends, because you can sometimes feel like you can talk to them more about it, because they cheer me on at my swim meets. And my friend Kimmy, she's faster than me at swimming by a lot, and she makes me strive to be faster than her. Well, I know it's going to be hard, but I'm going to try, and I think it's a pretty good goal to try to be faster than her, or at least get the 8 time. But it's my main goal. That's it. Goal.
I agree with you, Christina, about that. And I was wondering if Raymond would like to speak.
Thank you, Caleb. I agree with Christina and Devin, that having friends will really help you out, because when you have friends, then and you're having trouble on something, like anything at all, like swimming maybe, they can help you out, or you can get in. Yeah, friends will really help you out with anything. I was also wondering if Dominic wanted to talk.
Thank you, RJ. I agree with all of you. I think friends is really important. because you may get an injury in football or swimming or any kind of sport, and you need somebody to be by your side while you're recovering, and you know, like basically giving them an idea of like being. I'm not really sure, but basically, friends is really important.
I agree with Dominic, and I was wondering if Aiden would like to talk.
And I agree with you, Dominic, because friends, they could help you throughout your success, and they could help you get past what you're having trouble with, and they help you with everything. And just like coaches, they set up a good routine for you to have so you could be really successful on your goal.
I was wondering if everyone wanted to talk.
Thank you, Christina. And I was just like thinking of equality when I was writing down this paper, and I was like thinking about what I would come home to that day. My mom does Taekwondo too, but we have separate classes, and every day when she comes home, she practices her kicks no matter what, like even if she had a hard day at work and she's tired. So I was thinking, well, isn't she like devoted? Like she always is thinking about it. She's always doing it. Like you can't really stop her because she's always like kicking stuff. And so, and I was also wondering if Emily would like to talk.
I agree with Eden and everyone else. Your friends, like, they support you. When me and my mom are doing stuff, we're always trying to be supportive of each other. So I think friends really will support you.
I think you know, practice is another really main part. So people say practice makes perfect. There's no such thing as perfect. It just gets you, it just motivates you. Not motivates you, it just gets you better and better every time you do it. So if you start off not so good and you keep on practicing and practicing, you get better and better to reach your goal. And when you practice that goal, then you really just get there from your practicing because you've done it so many times. You're ready. And so practice, this year, pretty sure you guys all know, I tried out for the basketball team. I didn't think I was going to make it, but I practiced a lot. So when I did, I was surprised, kinda. No, I was surprised. And I think practicing was a big part of it and working hard.
I agree with you, Ian, because if you want to practice, you could be better at it. If you're bad at golf, you could just keep practicing and you could get better, and you don't want to quit. You could just keep going and try and be successful.
I agree with it. I also think that seeing that we've done the goal setting for a while now, we've been listening to songs, but I also think that positive attitude is one of the main ones that we've talked about. And it's always good because if you're in a bad situation, you have to be thinking positive to like maybe find a way out of it, and basically just thinking good out of bad and then making it better.
I was wondering if Sean would like to speak.
Thank you, Ian. I agree with Ian's point from earlier about practice, but I also think that you need a lot of confidence, because if you don't have confidence in yourself, you won't be determined to go out and practice and get better.
I agree with John. Would Maddox like to speak? Because I noticed he was just.
Thank you, Devin. I think that responsibility would be a good goal characteristic, because you want to be able to do the things it takes to reach your goal, and you don't just wait for your goal to come to you.
Just quickly back to Ian's point about practice. I wasn't always like really fast. Well, I don't know if I consider myself fast, but like as good as I am now, because like, it was kind of like at the end of the lane. When I first started, and at my first swimming, I got second out of 2 people. So I never really started out really well.
I agree with you,
Would Lauren like to speak?
Thank you. I think that you should also have confidence, like what Sean said. Because back in 2012, when I was kind of new to dance, I had to do this kind of tough stunt called a kick up, and I didn't know how to do it, and so even though I fell on my back was fully black and blue, I continued to do it, and then I found out that I could do it. So once I got time to do the dance at some huge high school, I had confidence in myself, and I did it without failing.
We're going to end on that note. Thanks, Lauren, for sharing that. Okay, are we ready to say what we were looking for? You want to begin, Raymond? Andrew.
Sure. I had, did anyone hurt the discussion? And I found that no one really hurt the discussion.
Mine was who made eye contact when listening. I thought that everybody did, but there was a few people that stood out, Dominic, Ian, and Lauren.
Michael?
Who asked another student to explain his or her point or his or her opinion. And Ian and Evan had 3, and Caleb, Evelyn, Raymond, and Christina had 2.
Thank you. Emerson?
What are the key points in the conversation? I said effort and friends. I pretty well said characteristics.
Josh?
I had who asked another student for his or her opinion. I put Caleb, Evelyn, Ian, Raymond, Christina, and Devin.
I had who spoke most often, probably the number of times each person spoke, and I found that Christina spoke most often with 4 times that she spoke.
Does that help the discussion move forward when people are willing to share? Thanks. Savannah?
I had who made eye contact when speaking, and about everyone made eye contact if someone was speaking.
Bella?
I had who spoke for the longest period of time, and the top ones were Dominic, Ian, Raymond, Christina, and Cole.
I had who was the leader. I've had Dominic, Lauren, Ian, Christina, and Devin, but the 3 that stuck out the most were Evelyn, Ian, and Christina.
I had 2. I had who began the discussion and who ended it. So Caleb started the conversation and Lauren ended it. And then my other one that did anybody interrupt another student who, not really anybody did, but I did make a note at the beginning that Christina interrupted Ian a little bit, but when she realized that he was still talking, she stopped.
I had, did anyone not speak at all? And if so, who? And everyone talked.
I need to applaud your efforts because both groups did a great job in being courageous and sharing personal stories, whether it was the talent show, the dance story, your swimming practice. That takes courage, and that will only move you forward and propel you to reach your goals. How do you feel when you've reached whatever the goal is that you've set for yourself? What do you think, Caleb?
I think that people feel accomplished, and they should.
No, how do you feel? Not how do people feel. How do you feel?
I think that I feel accomplished, and I think that if I do reach my goal, I would feel happy because I've worked so hard and I've studied and I've done all my work, extra credit.
Bella?
Whenever I complete a goal, I kind of feel proud of myself because I actually achieved something that I've been working hard for. So if I was studying for the whole week and then I get 100 on the test, I feel good about myself because I actually did something that helps me.
Evelyn?
I feel whenever I accomplish a goal, I always feel I feel really happy and proud of myself, and I always whenever I'm in I have an obstacle in my way, I had my broken toe and I didn't want to go back at all. It was just so hard. I was just well, you should. And when I went back yesterday after, I was well, that was really good. You should go a couple more days, try to get used to it again, and maybe that you'll just be so happy that you accomplished my goal.
Devin, would you like to share?
When I got a concussion, I really didn't want to do football anymore, but I figured if I can avoid that somehow and be faster and quicker and do the right plays at the right times and be swift, that I won't get hurt and I'll be able to achieve fullback.
Okay, so were you faster and quicker and swifter? And how did you feel once you were those things? Okay, so we can all agree that setting goals is a really good thing to do?
Yes.
And it leaves you feeling good. What happens when you hit that roadblock, that obstacle? Emma?
You think that you're not going to be able to go back to it, and you just feel like, oh, I can't do this anymore, I'm done. But if you just keep going and you just put that on the side and don't let it bother you, then you feel really proud, because I have a few roadblocks trying to get to my goal. But if you just put it to the side, you don't even, it just feels like it's out of your mind.
Yeah.
So roadblocks, I think, obviously they don't help you. They can be people, sometimes my brother. He's my brother. And so when I tried out for basketball, I saw a lot of 8th graders, and I thought there was 11 of them. And I thought all of them are going to make it, and they're going to pick 4 7th graders, no 6th graders. And that was probably a roadblock for me, because I did not get very high up there. But I still tried my hardest, and I did it.
So what qualities do you need then when you hit a roadblock to keep on going on? What were some of those words we heard?
I think you need to have a positive attitude, and when it's a person, like my sister, she does that a lot. I think you really need to ignore those roadblocks. If they're words, you definitely need to ignore them.
That's wonderful. Andrew?
I think that when you hit a roadblock, you should have perseverance and you should be determined. So, you want to persevere through your roadblock, and you want to be determined to, get around it and keep going.
Natalie?
I think if you hit a roadblock, you need to be dedicated so that you still want to reach it after you hit the roadblock.
Devin, you have
I
another word?
think determination is a good one, because if somebody's trying to hurt you, you still try your hardest, and whether it's someone or something, you still try to do your best and get around that obstacle.
Okay. Raise your hand if you enjoy this type of conversation in the classroom, this type of discussion. If you like this kind of discussion. You don't like it, Natalie? Why don't you like it?
I don't like speaking about what I wrote in front of people.
Okay, you don't like it, but do you think something like this will help you one day if you keep practicing those skills? That one day you'll do it and it will be easier and easier for you? Okay. Could you share, those of you who like it, hold on, don't move yet, why do you like it?
I like it because you get to hear other people's opinion on what your opinion is, and it can really boost your thoughts.
Okay. Dominic?
I like expressing myself to basically what words I chose and why I chose them, and hearing other people basically saying the exact same thing.
Okay. Evelyn?
Like Natalie said, I don't like talking about what I wrote, but when I do talk about it and I share, I feel completed that other people get to know what I think and what happens in my life that I usually don't talk to at all.
Thank you. Emma?
I like getting to hang out with the class and not just be sitting in dust, and I just kind of watching everything happen, and I like reading off of my paper, and I just saying what I think.
Okay. Bella?
I like reading off of my paper, reading what my opinion is about the words that I chose, and then I also like hearing what other people's words that they chose. I like hearing their opinion also.
I like hearing people that don't usually talk in class that are a bit more shy. And in a regular class discussion, where everyone's screaming over each other, when someone talks in the Socratic circle, everyone stops and listens and gets to hear their opinion. And the shy people will get to talk on their own, and people will motivate them and ask them if they would like to.
Okay, Christina?
I like it because it's
Longer,
in the
please.
classroom sometimes, but like it's almost in like a different like environment. Like you get to express your feelings, and like you get to listen to other people's opinions, and like sometimes like if they like hear yours, they might be able to help you after, and you just get to shout and you don't have to raise your hand or anything.
I will tell you why I really like it. I like it for the reasons Ian gave about people who are shy. If we had a big class discussion with 25 of you, some people wouldn't say anything because everybody else would be doing the talking. And this lets everyone else have a voice because you all have such important things to share and we need to hear what you have to share. It helps you with your social skills. How many of you text? How many of you text a lot? Okay, well this helps you because do you have to make eye contact with the person you're texting with?
No.
No. Okay, do you always have to be focused on what they're saying? Can you be multitasking and doing other things?
Yes.
Yes, well, a social skill is when people talk to you, you make eye contact with them, you look at them. When they're speaking, you look at the speaker, you invite other people into the conversation. So I love this discussion, and that's why we do so much of it, is because it gets your social skills up and running, and the more you practice good listening, and the more you practice speaking, and the more you practice using these sheets and defending and having reasons for your opinion, the better writer you become, the better student, the better person. So let's give yourselves a round of applause.